So now, in between the time that you were with Charlie, weren't you working? And you started working with other bands, as I recall, didn't you?
Yeah, I stopped working with Charlie because I met a guy the guy that I moved up here from LA with,
Right.
the blues guy. He had hooked up with an organ player, and they were starting to do more kind of funk music. They were trying to make a go of, getting some of the top 40 money, pass yourself off as a top 40 act.
Right.
Because the idea was, oh, wow, they're paying actual money and, none of us were really particularly suited to that.
Right.
But, we would try it from time to time. So and Bruce Conti, the guitarist with Tower of Power, he was part of that. He had just moved up from Fresno. And then we got Lonnie Castile, the guy from Houston who had been Tracy's drummer.
Right.
And we were weird gigs like playing at the classic Kitten on San Pablo Dam Road in El Sobrante. It was a topless bar.
A strip bar, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Where all the warehouse workers would be in there drinking their beer and watching the girls.
Right.
Paying no attention to the band. Stuff like that. So yeah, and playing with, so then, things would come and go.
You played with Alice Stewart for a while.
That was quite a bit later on.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we were playing with Mother Earth at the Scene, I got to know Ron Stallings.
Oh yeah.
Saxophone player,
yeah.
Singer.
Right.
Great guy, great player.
Right.
And he, by the time I was out of Charlie's band, Ron was in a band that had gotten a deal with Columbia Records. It was called Southern Comfort.
Oh,
there's a
British band.
There's a British
that.
band that's better known.
Right.
This is not that. This was kind of modeled on Stax Volt sound. The leaders, Ron was one of the leaders. Bob Jones.
Oh yeah,
Bob Jones was playing drums.
Right.
He had been singer and lead guitarist in We Five.
Oh right. Yeah.
But later, he had moved to Marin County and got to know Mike Bloomfield.
Right.
And Nick Gravenitis.
Gravenitis, right.
Norm, producer, friend of Nick and
you talk about the guy from Chicago?
Yeah.
What's his name? I know exactly who you mean. He was a strange bird.
Yeah.
Norman Dayron.
Norman Dayron.
Norman Dayron.
So
he was a great singer, as I recall.
Bob.
Bob Jones.
Wonderful singer.
Yeah.
Right. And him and Ron singing together.
Yeah.
Was like
really magic.
Yeah, really great. Yeah. And it was there was an organ player, Steve Funk was his name. There was a trumpet player, John Wilmoth, who's also, he was mainly a jazz guy. John Wilmoth was also a fine bass player and gave me my first introduction to upright bass.
Wow.
Actually.
Wow.
And he had played with I think he had played with the Fourth Way, Mike Knock and Mike White, the early jazz fusion band.
Yeah.
That was kind of around at the time.
Okay.
So, so Ron Stallings tapped me for this soul band thing. They were doing original music, but also a lot of covers. And they were based in Marin County, so I ended up moving to Marin County.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I lived there for several years.
And where were you living, in Fairfax? Or?
Yeah, we had a house. Ron Stallings and Steve Funk had this kind of a ranch house they were renting, and I moved in with them. It was kind of near downtown, a few blocks from downtown.
Yeah.
Bob Jones had a place in Fairfax that he had bought from his, rock star money, from the We Five money.
Oh, right. That's right.
And so that went on for a while, but they had signed a deal with Columbia, but they were not real smart in their business. That immediately went and bought little sports cars and stuff. I mean, they did other things too.
Yeah.
Wasn't anyway, and there were substance abuse issues that came into play.
Yeah.
Now,
let me ask you this: how is it that you seem to have come through this whole time period fairly unscathed, next to most of the people that I know from that era?
I don't know.
I mean, it just seems like you never became a drug addict. You never.
I mean, not deep in enough to.
I mean, because you certainly know plenty of people.
Yeah, I mean, I was afraid of punching holes in myself for one thing.
Right.
So that was kind of a deal breaker.
Right.
But I did some pretty heavy dabbling, and
Did you do a lot of cocaine and stuff like that later on?
Yeah. And I could definitely. I mean, I can see now that I was at a place where, I could have gone one direction.
Who
knows? It takes like some major trauma in your life happens at a time when you're kind of using to a certain degree, and then you're
off
into
the cliff. Right.
But so far.
But God, we know a lot of people that have.
That have not made it.
Yeah. Or just that have had. I mean, somebody like Clay Cotton. I remember just being insane at one point there, when he was around Blake's.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene was very drug infested. The Blake scene.
Think so?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that you never really went off the edge like a lot of people did.
I think some people are
prone to it,
more prone to it than others, and I'm fortunate in having whatever the genetic makeup is.
Right. Yeah. But Alice Stewart, tell me a little bit about her, because she's somebody that I was always interested in, and I never really heard much of her, but I know that she was on the scene for years.
Right. She had been, Alice was from Chelan, Washington, Eastern Washington, and was a folkie. She was on, I can't remember now how she hung out with John Hurt a lot.
Mississippi John Hurt.
Mississippi John Hurt.
Yeah.
She did an album on Arhoolie, folk. I mean, she was always at the Berkeley Folk Festival.
Right.
I wasn't aware of her at all at that time. But she. Fantasy Records became interested in her as a songwriter. I don't know how she made that connection, but it was, Fantasy after they were on the cusp of building that new building with the Creedence Clearwater money that was flowing in.
Yeah.
But what she really wanted was to be fronting a band, an electric band.
As opposed to being solo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they did an album, Fantasy did an album on her that was really interesting. It had a lot of great players on it. Richard Green, the fiddle player. A lot of great players. And it got kind of a lot of critical interest. But she had to kind of strong arm them into making that record.
Right.
They didn't want to make a record on it. They wanted her as a songwriter.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So at the time that Southern Comfort was breaking up, oh no, it hadn't broken up. Freddie Herrera.
Right, Keystone.
Right, he was the guy that club owner.
Right.
Owned Keystone, San Francisco, Berkeley. Well, it's probably a partnership, a consortium, but he was the face of it.
Yeah.
He hooked Alice up with Southern Comfort.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Actually, it was the Southern Comfort rhythm section.
Yeah.
Ron Stallings wasn't involved.
Right.
So I guess we must have been, the band must have kind of broken up.
Right.
But it was the 4-piece organ, guitar, Fred Burton, guitar player, me and Bob.
So Bob Jones was in that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Drumming.
Okay.
And, Alice came over and, we did some playing, did some rehearsing, and she said, look, I'm doing another album at Fantasy. I want you all on it. So we started working on this album, and she got an awful lot of studio time, considering they weren't really interested in her as a performing. Well, she was a very strong-willed person, and she was, made this transition from the long-haired folky. She was playing Strat.
Right.
She started wearing an afro.
Right.
And got a rock shape on, and really interested in like reggae music. And,
Interesting.
All kinds. And Bob, they ended up as a couple for a long time.
Bob Jones did?
Bob Jones and Alice.
I didn't know that.
And he was turning her on to all kinds of stuff, and he was actually showing her a lot of guitar too, because he knew guitar and he understood a lot about, like, how Bobby Womack plays, that style, that gospel style of R&B playing.
Wow.
Bob is a serious student, was a serious student in that, and passed that on, got Alice interested in that.
Wow.
And so, and we were getting paid like union scale, I think, for those Fantasy sessions, and we were there a lot.
Yeah.
And as time went on, the guitar player disappeared, and the keyboard player disappeared.
We became just a trio.
Yeah, and we were still working on the album, but then we had to do some gigs, and we, after some angst, decided we'd go ahead and just do it as a trio. And Alice had, which is kind of nervy for a gal who'd been playing acoustic guitar all her life, But she and Bob figured out this deal with using a Leslie speaker, which is kind of a thing for guitar effects at that time.
Right.
In the studio, mainly, is when you would use it.
Yeah.
And it gives you, if you don't know what a Leslie speaker is, commonly used with a B3 organ.
Right.
It's a rotating speaker which gives a
Right.
Doppler effect, which is an effect of actually pitch shift and makes for a very fat sound. And she had this thing built, this array of, an amp that would work with the Leslie speakers in a way to switch it on and off and toggle the motors, the vibrato motors with her foot and whatever, and started, really getting into this. And so we started gigging with just a trio, and it got pretty good.
Yeah.
And there's footage from one of the last shows we did, which was at Winterland.
Wow.
And it's, black and white videotape. Some of it's spotty, but some of it's really, really good.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we started playing around, and first Fantasy Records did this promotion tour. There was a fantasy band called Red Wing from
I've heard that,
Sacramento.
Yeah.
Timothy Schmidt from the Eagles had been involved with them
Really?
before they got to Fantasy.
Huh.
But they were another band. They were like a rock band. Oh, and who's that guitar player? Played left, Samuels?
Steve Samuels.
Steve Samuels' brother.
Yeah.
His little brother
Really?
was in that band.
Huh.
I'm thinking of the guy that's got a little
Yeah, he has nub.
Janelle.
Yeah. He's a great guitar player.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a brother.
Right.
Yeah.
And these were Sacramento guys, and they were a rock band, and they were also, Alice records were produced by Russ Gary, who had engineered Creedence.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
he was really good engineer.
Yeah.
And he was kind of engineering / producing, co-producing for Alice and for Red Wing. So they booked this promotional tour. It's the first time I went to Europe. It was like 72 or something. And we had all these dates we flew to London, did a bunch of like college dates, club in London, went to Germany and did a bunch of weird gigs over there. and but in the process of doing stuff like that, you get, in connection with, you keep playing and go through these weird experiences, you get tighter and tighter.
Right.
Music gets richer.
Musically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it comes together.
And then we came back here and we started opening for Van Morrison
Wow.
in California.
Too much.
And so it was like a bunch of dates up and down California. And then Van was living in Marin County at that time.
Right.
He was going to go back to the UK for the first time since he had left.
Wow.
And he was taking that band with him. It was a really good band. I don't remember which albums they played on, but it was John Platani on guitar, David Hayes on bass, great player, and two horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, good band. So Alice had to do some fundraising for that because it wasn't going to pay for itself.
But you guys were going to go and support.
Yeah,
okay.
Van wanted us to open up the shows, but the money would be nowhere enough to make it feasible. So she figured out, she got some money somewhere, and we went and did that, and that was great. And Van took not only this big band, but he took a string quartet.
Wow.
Of players that they were like the session players at Fantasy Records. They're all Oakland Symphony people. Great, really great players. The leader was, I can't remember his name, but he did a lot of string arranging for Fantasy, violinist. Anyway, so we were on, all on this sit-up tour bus.
Wow.
Like a tourist tour bus.
Yeah.
With, over there at the time they had, at the back of the bus, it was like a bar.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's liquor bottles and dispensers, upended on. And so that was pretty fun. And the high point of that was, so we played at the Roundhouse in London.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Like Camden Town or something.
Yeah, that's a famous venue.
Really famous venue.
Right.
But the capper was, and I'm not remembering the name of the theater, but it's where Van did a live record there. It's called something like "There's No Stopping Us Now."
Not the Rainbow.
The Rainbow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rainbow, yeah.
And they recorded us too.
Wow.
And
did that ever come out?
No. Alice was trying to. I have a copy of one of the songs she managed to get. She managed to get her hands on the 2-inch.
Yeah.
And got it processed somehow.
So I'd imagine all the two bands got together, got to be pretty tight, I would think.
Ish.
Sort of?
Yeah.
Not really?
Not really.
Was Van kind of
Oh.
very to himself?
He's
Beyond that?
He's an interesting character.
I have heard.
Yeah.
I've heard stories.
No,
yeah.
I can't say that I know him well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it true even with his band, would you say?
I would
Don't
think
know.
so.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Huh. But he obviously liked Alice Stewart enough to have her on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you guys come back after that and keep playing together? Or?
Well, I think we broke up soon after that.
Uh-huh.
I think the Winterland show might have been after that tour, so that might have been the high point.
Right.
When the band was at its best musically.
And who was on that show? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I don't at all.
Yeah.
No.
Big venue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really big venue. Yeah.
So then, I don't know what happened to me next. I eventually ended up, soon after, I think I ended up playing with Grayson Street.
Oh, okay. All right.
Moved back to the.
Bay.
We were in. We were living in Marin County. I was married at that time. By that time.
Yeah.
And it was, a little too pricey, so we moved over to Point Richmond. And I got to hanging out more with Grayson Street people and back in Berkeley and so forth.
Now was Ricky in there by then? Ricky Kellogg?
Yeah, when I joined Grayson Street, it was Ricky Kellogg and of course
Terry, of course. Yeah.
John Whitney was playing guitar.
Right.
Great guitar player, singer, songwriter.
Right.
Danny Daniels was playing organ.
Oh yeah, he was great.
He was great.
What was the name of that band he had? Him and his wife or something?
Yeah. Pure Honey.
Pure Honey, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that band, no bass player.
No bass
Danny
player.
Danny was kicking left-hand bass.
Right.
And that's that would be some of my favorite bass playing to hear, actually.
Yeah. Really?
Would be him down at Blake's playing left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Danny, one of the first places I lived in Berkeley was down on McGee Street.
Right.
In this, with a bunch of us living in this house. And we would hear, late at night, we'd hear like organ trio music coming from next door. Like Groove Holmes,
Wow.
Jimmy Smith
Wow.
songs, Jack McDuff songs. And it was this kid. He was probably 15, or it was Danny.
Wow.
That's the first time I met Danny.
Wow.
And,
crazy.
It's when I was trying to put this band together.
Yeah.
And somehow I talked him into coming over to this hippie house where this band where we would get together and jam.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Oh, funny.
His parents were like administrators at Cal.
Oh, really?
But yeah, he ended up playing, on the scene in the East Bay.
So you sort of discovered him in a way. After a fact,
but
I guess.
But it's so funny,
Yeah.
Oh, what's this noise next door?
Right.
This kid's great.
15. That's incredible.
So after Grayson Street, you didn't play in Loading Zone, right?
No, I never did.
Okay.
That was a great band.
Yeah. Now, did you play you told me you played the Fillmores and the Avalon off and on with different groups, right?
I never played the Fillmore until much, much later.
Oh, okay.
Charlie played to Avalon.
Did you play with him then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he played a lot of the, like in LA, it was the Shrine.
Right, the Shrine, yeah.
Exhibit Hall or something like that.
Yeah.
Another thing where they're trying to be like the San Francisco Ball.
Right.
Light shows.
They'd have triple bills and stuff.
Yeah, the triple bills.
Right.
Very eclectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of places like that.
Yeah.
In Boston, it was
Boston Tea Party.
Boston Tea Party.
There was one in Detroit, like the Grand, or what was the name of the one in Detroit? There was a real famous one in Detroit too. Yeah, I forget. Yeah.
But yeah, that was his.
He was kind of on the
He was on
Walter
circuit because he with his old band, when that his first record came out, Stand Back.
Yeah.
That was a big deal on FM radio.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Cristo Redemptor.
Right.
Yeah. And now you played on, how many Vanguard records of his did you play on? You're on Stone Blues,
On Stone
Tennessee Woman,
and then Wait the Blues to Us or something like that.
oh, is that the one on Capitol or something?
I don't know.
There's one that you played on, and it's got him in a bar. That's different.
Right.
It's got him in a bar with the sunglasses. You're on that record, as I recall. And I think
Arvisu, maybe?
I don't remember, but I think it's on Capitol. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And then there was,
I think that is Lee.
a little later, there was one side of that, Arhuli.
Oh, that's right. The one with Lafayette Leak. And I saw your picture in there the other day.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you had the mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that was with Kahatsu, not Robben Ford?
Well,
Or was he
Robben
part of-
Ford and Robin's band, I think it was Robin's band, were on one side.
Okay, man.
And the other side was Kayatsu and me and Larry Martin
Right.
and Lafayette Leak.
And Larry was in there with you guys for a while, wasn't he?
Well,
A year or something?
I met Larry. He came through Alice's band after Bob.
No, there's
Yeah, Bob.
Okay.
Bob and Alice split up, and she was trying. She went on. She had a number of different bands, and when I was still hanging with her, it was Larry Martin and Tulsa keyboard player John Deathridge, who was kind of part of that Tulsa crowd.
yeah.
But then after I played with Grayson Street, I kind of got burned out on the club scene.
Right.
I mean, we would go with Grayson Street. We'd go up and do like 2 weeks up in Eureka,
Right.
in bar up there.
Right.
Stay at the club owner's house, and it was fun.
The good life.
But
Yeah.
so I, all along, like since I got up to Northern California, soon after I got to Berkeley, I started working for this guy named Don Bukla, who was an inventor, synthesizer maker. He and Bob Moog almost simultaneously were developing what's called the voltage control synthesizer.
Wow.
Moog has, much more of a commercial success.
Yeah.
Don's stuff was developed in conjunction with Mills College, which is more hotbed of avant-garde music, and in conjunction with Mort Sabatnik and Ramon Sender, avant-garde composers who work in electronics.
Wow.
So he was selling stuff developing stuff. It was more like boutique. He was a very quirky guy, brilliant, and he was just very single-mindedly developing instruments for his friends and his own needs. He made a point of just being contemptuous of the market.
But he meant an anti-commercial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And any hint of, oh, you can use a synthesizer to sound just like a clarinet.
Right.
Don would just go nuts. No, you hire a clarinet player if you want a clarinet. Anyway, he hired, it was like a cottage industry, small runs of stuff. He would sell them to universities that had music departments that were heavy in avant-garde music, which, there's several of them. These things you could spend $50,000 back then for one of these things.
Wow.
Which, for studio hardware, that's what a studio hardware costs.
Right.
But Don always hired a a lot of musicians, people in the performing arts, dancers, people he knew from Mills, primarily at first. And the deal was, the pay was pretty crummy, but the hours were really, ad hoc.
Right.
If you had a gig,
So adaptable.
it was understood. Of course, you're going to go and take the gig. So I would, I'd work for Don if I was having a slack period, maybe get some kind of a gig that took me somewhere. And when I got back to town, I'd look him up and see if he needed somebody, if he did.
So now you were doing electronics for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we all started up to, learning how to solder,
Right.
bolting things together.
Right.
And then, 20 years later, I was laying out printed circuit boards. He taught me how to do that.
Wow.
Higher level stuff.
That is high. Yeah.
I never got into design really. But, I got to.
So you could kind of work on your own equipment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
And I worked, after I got fired off the Cray band thing, I came back to and worked for Don again.
Look at you
Learn how to, work on these little tiny things.
How's crazy.
Yeah, really crazy.
Wow.
So, so anyway, when I got burned out with the club scene, I thought, well, I'd been trying to, over the years, I'd been making attempts at learning to read music. Famous session bass player Karl Sevareid
Right.
came out with a series of instruction books for bass guitar.
Mm-hmm.
There was ended up being 4 of them, and it was all, she was in the studios playing, music that had a lot to do with, funk music, what have you.
Right.
And she would write transcriptions of these things and kind of basic instructions on, well, how do you count? What does this mean? How do you count it? And how do you learn how to play it from looking at the music?
Mm-hmm.
So I would make periodic attempts at learning to read like that. So when I hit this period of my life, I started going to Laney College in Oakland. I was taking music classes because I wanted to get learn more about music theory. And I was also taking electronics classes because I thought, well, what the hell? I know how to do this electronic stuff. Maybe I can, learn electronics theory too, and it'd be something good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a couple of years. I never got a degree or was headed for it. And I just, Laney had a wonderful music department. I think it still does. But the basic theory classes were really deep and taught by this wonderful guy who was the head of the music department, Elvin, who had studied at Mills. He was a jazzer, tenor player.
Mm-hmm.
But he studied with Darius Milhaud. What Milhaud was a composer, classical composer who was in residence at Mills. For Brubeck studied with him too.
Wow. Too much.
Yeah. Anyway, DeMonte, great teacher, but he insisted on teaching these basic classes, and it was wonderful because it was a 2-pronged thing. He had students who were hoping to transfer into a 4-year school like Cal, just into upper division.
Right.
So he's trying to prep them, get them, the arms for that. But also he's got people from the neighborhood, street players, like me,
Yeah.
People from East Oakland, church players, and, people who maybe this is the only music class they're ever going to take.
Right.
And he's giving them simultaneously, he's giving them the tools that's going to help elevate them
For theory.
Yeah,
Right.
stuff that they can use. He's always saying, Bach did this every Sunday morning, and you're going to do this every Saturday night. It's just exactly the same thing.
Interesting. Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
So I went there and what kept my music interest, kept my music life going was playing with Tim Kayatsu
Right.
and the Blake's band.
Right.
At that time,
Right.
he was booking the music down at Perry Blake's in Berkeley, and he had started this band with Clay Cotton.
That was the Rat Band. Yeah.
Roger Browse was the
Right.
bass player.
Right.
Tyler Ing played drums, and eventually I was in there, and we'd play.
Kind of you and Steve Evans, as I recall, wasn't it?
Right, yeah, back and
You
forth.
guys would kind of switch off.
I was kind of in there pretty solid, and until me and Tyler went with Elvin Bishop,
Right.
and then Steve started playing more.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because, I mean, you backed a lot of, didn't you back people like Tracy all the time?
Yeah, I mean Tracy and Tim were friends.
Right.
By that
Tracy Nelson.
Tracy Nelson.
Yeah.
And when Tracy would come, Tracy's brother was a judge, lived in Piedmont.
Oh, okay.
And she'd come out here and stay with him, and Tim would get a band together.
Right.
And would play Larry Blake's and whatever.
Yeah.
And
And then you played with people like Etta, as I recall.
right.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, Etta was in her,
Right.
her career was not going great then. And she was traveling around in her mini Dago or,
Wow. Yeah.
pickup truck with a camper on it.
With her elevators.
Yeah. Yeah, she was doing dates with other bands too, like over at the Oasis in San Francisco, and Teddy David Johnson. Matt Budge, backed her up some. Yeah, but we played with her at Blake's and other places.
Right.
So got to play with a lot of, and at that time got to know the Cray band.
Right.
Because Robert and them were booking,
They were coming, they were coming in all the time. Yeah. With Curtis.
with Curtis.
Yep. And I remember one time, and it was right before Tim joined the band, him and Cray together at Larry Blake's doing a stunning two-guitar gig. Just killer. It was so good. They had real chemistry.
Wow.
Yeah, they got real chemistry right before he joined that.
Wow.
It was so special. Yeah, it's so funny how that kind of stuff can happen. You see these people, you can see how something happened, but it doesn't always last. You know what I mean?
So what killed me about that version of the Cray band, when Curtis was in the band.
Oh God!
When they would do those O.V. Wright songs in harmony, it was
stunning.
Kill you.
It was some of the best to me. That was one of the best R&B, old style soul R&B bands that I ever saw.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing those guys doing those O.V. Wright and Sam and Dave, and they did all that stuff to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really a great combo. So you ended up in there when Richard Cousins basically was fired?
Well,
is that what happened?
Well, before I got to know, exposed to the Cray band, Elvin was...
Right, you were with Elvin for a long time.
Right, that was like 79,
yeah,
I think. Tyler was already playing with him.
Right.
And Sly Crooks.
Right.
God bless him.
Yeah. He's barely hanging on.
Well, him and Elvin, it was like...
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard.
Sly Crooks, bass player, did not take it. I didn't know Sly well, but by all accounts, he did not take any
shit off Elvin. No. And I heard stories about him flicking cigarettes in his afro and stuff. Yeah. Where am I?
That. I think when I got to getting, I ran into Stu Blank.
Right. Oh, yeah.
College.
Yeah.
You play with them. What do you do? Go around Fly's house with a six-pack of beer and fits of Jack Daniels, provoke him.
So you keep the game.
Yeah, they had some falling out. And
oh, yeah.
Van.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started playing with Elvin, and that was that was a great experience.
Yeah.
That was a really good
You were in there for a long time, right?
I was in there for, that was like 5 years.
5 years.
And it was, Terry Hank was playing sax.
Right.
Jerry McKinney,
Oh, great sax player.
great Memphis sax player,
Yeah.
mainly on alto. And
Right.
him and Terry together was just like,
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Clay Cotton was playing piano when I started. Gary Vogenson playing guitar.
Right. And Gary Sullivan ended up in there, right?
That was some years later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was on the road a lot with Elvin.
Yeah.
We would, that was fly out to wherever, get in a 19-passenger, 15-passenger Dodge van,
Right.
sit up and ride around
Right.
for a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
or a month.
Yeah. I don't know how that feels.
Yeah. But even so, it's probably, a notch above where
Yeah.
I would,
I would think so. Yeah. Yeah. Because Elvin was fresh off of the big hit.
Well,
What?
he was, what had happened right at the point around where Tyler and I joined him.
Yeah.
Elvin's manager, who I don't know who it was, it was discovered that, at that time, Elvin was a big deal.
Right.
Deal touring act. They had,
Right.
I'm sure they traveled with their own lights and sound and whatever. There was a lot of employees, a lot of, crew.
Right.
It turned out that there were people who were being paid as independent contractors who should have been employees. I don't know if you...
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you could, the tax liability for an employer, if you're paying someone as an independent contractor, you have much less responsibility for that.
Right.
If you're on your payroll, you got to pay money to the government.
Right.
And you got to pay it now.
Yeah.
And so it turned out that all these people were improperly classified as as contractors. They should have been employees. And the manager said, "Oh, I'm sorry, not my problem." And, took a hike and I left Elvin holding the bag. And so, there's Elvin with, IRS is telling him, you have to pay, I don't know how much it was, but huge sums of money right now.
Wow.
Right now.
Unbelievable.
And the story that I heard was the road manager at the time, Hal Pins, and Queenie Taylor.
Oh, yeah. From Slims. Yeah.
From Bill Graham Organization, and somebody else, they kind of teamed up and figured out how to save this situation.
Get them off the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And figure out, a payment plan. And so for years and years, Elvin was on the hook for these regular, so things were, so he had to
go out. Had to go out.
Yeah.
Had no choice.
Right. I didn't choice. And eventually, I don't know what the resolution was, but he resolved.
Did he?
Yeah.
Took him a while.
No doubt.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was kind of, and when somebody's been operating at a certain level,
Right.
and then you have to go,
Have to knock it down.
feel like they're going back down,
Right.
It can make you a little grumpy.
Oh, I can see how that would work. Yeah. And he was drinking during that time too. Yeah. Yeah. Hence him and Fly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think it was about 5 years, and then I was in that accident that you,
Right. Right.
a bad auto accident. It was a 40-hour accident. I was out of commission. I didn't do anything for 6 months.
Wow. How long were you in the hospital? Like a month?
It was, including the convalescent hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it started in that. I was a long time in the ICU.
Yeah.
I was a week and a half or so on a regular floor, then a rehab play.
And did you break a lot of bones and
So
stuff?
yeah,
What did you break? Ribs?
bunch of ribs, my jaw, shoulder blade, which it's amazing. Took a wide
Man.
pelvis,
Jeez.
femur, both femurs. Yeah, just a real laundry list.
Unbelievable. It's amazing you can walk.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I think it was a really good surgeon. Some guy with Vietnam experience.
Wow.
The bone guy.
Yeah.
And he did a good job, I think.
Yeah. And you got T-boned by a cop.
Yeah, I was.
You're coming home from a gig, right?
Well, I had just at that time, Tim. I had just given Tim Kaihatsu a ride home. And after, we probably had some drinks after hours. And I was in my Carmen Gita convertible.
Oh my
I drove Tim,
God.
and I was on my way going back to my place in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And
Middle of the night.
middle of the night, and I got T-boned turned out to be an Oakland cop. And
he was like,
he must have been moving.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, what we figured out was, so I was trying to make a decision at what route I was going to take home.
Right.
This way, make a left turn, go this way. Maybe I didn't signal. I don't know. I was in the 4-lane road. I was in the fast lane, center lane, getting ready to turn left. And he comes going my way on the other side of the road. He's on his way. He's on his way to back up another unit.
Right.
He said, he says he had his lights on. We don't think so. There,
Yeah.
3 a.m, there were no witnesses.
Right.
So,
Wow.
yeah. But that was the end of the Carmen Gia.
Just so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Did you get any money from the Oakland PD?
I got a small settlement from Oakland,
But not that much.
not relative,
Tough for what you went through.
not relative to. I mean, if I had to pay the medical bills, it might have paid half of them.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Well, you're out here.
yeah. So
Like you can walk.
yeah. So then, I didn't, and I lost because I didn't have insurance. I didn't have car insurance.
Oh my God.
So I lost my license automatic for a year. But I started back working a little bit after 6 months, and then I started. They called Motors at Blake's called me up, asked me did I want a 10 bar.
Oh, right. I said,
I didn't know that for a while.
I forgot about that.
I was a terrible.
I was too drunk to remember.
I worked mainly as the day shift.
Right.
Would get the
Okay.
hardcore
Yeah.
guy on his way to work at Cal Berkeley, stopping in for his morning gin.
That must have been a trip.
Yeah.
Before you joined Robert Cray, you joined him
It was 91.
91, and Richard Cousins, the bass player, had just been fired or left?
Been fired, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
And so did Tim get you into the band, Tim Kaihatsu?
Yeah, well, actually, Tim, over the course of time, the first change that happened with Robert's band was, well, they started, he had that hit record. One was that 8-6.
Strong Persuader.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and
With all the big hits on it.
Smoking Gun was
Right.
the top
Right.
40 record.
Right.
And they started, doing big shows,
Mhm.
big, and that's a shock, if you've been playing bars
Yeah.
primarily, and you have to start playing stages that are,
Right.
yards and yards wide.
Right.
And, everyone's your bandmates, instead of being right up on top of you, you're
Like
like
spread way out. Yeah.
You're spread way out. And, the pressure's on psychologically. And my understanding, at any rate, Robert's drummer, his name,
Richard Olson. I mean Olson. Dave Olson.
Dave Olson. Dave Olson.
Yeah.
He was replaced, and Kevin Hayes,
Right.
who had been playing in the Rat Band,
Right.
Rathskeller Band, with Tim. Well, actually, first thing that happened was they started playing these big stages. Robert wanted another instrument. It was a small band.
Right. It was like a quartet.
With keyboards.
Right.
And he got Tim in ostensibly to play rhythm guitar, although Robert would give him a lot of solo space. And Tim started touring with the band.
Right.
And he was having a ball.
Yeah.
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 He loved it. And but they were having problems musically, and Dave Olson was replaced. Tim got Kevin had gotten totally fed up with the Bay Area.
Yeah.
He had moved to Seattle. He was working at a Nordstrom.
Wow.
Yeah, he had it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a show.
And part of that was when, whatever. It's tangential. Anyway, so Kevin was in, and a short time later, he just thought I had this do not disturb. Short time later, Peter Bow, the keyboard player, was replaced by Jim Pugh,
Right.
who had been another
Rathskeller Band guy.
So, and that was over the course of maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And Kevin and Jimmy were on that Midnight Stroll album that was on Mercury with the Memphis Horns,
Right.
Wayne and Andrew. And Wayne and Andrew were touring with the band
Right.
at that time. And then Richard and Robert had a falling out, but then Richard was gone, and Robert called me up, and changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No kidding.
yeah. So,
High level stuff.
yeah, high level stuff. Yeah. So almost immediately we started working on a record back at Fantasy Records, where I'd spent months and months playing with Alice.
Wow.
like Alice.
Yeah. So you knew it well.
Same room.
Yeah. You knew it well.
Here.
Yeah.
And then, touring. Yeah.
It's nonstop
Well, it would be,
or record tour. Record.
yeah, every couple of years a record.
Yeah.
And then the touring schedule would always be the same. Might go out for a weekend, or to do one date, might go out for 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If it was Europe, it might go up 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you add it all together, it would be, over the course of the year, you figure it out, it's between 4 and 7 months total, all the way around town.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Not all at the same time.
That's a lot.
And when you were home, you were home.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So were you guys on salary during this time?
Yeah, there was like a 2-tiered salary. So, it'd be one, the real money was while you were actually touring.
Yeah.
And then when you were off, it was more like a stipend.
Right.
Enough that it
Make it survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it was, so I did that for 17 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And during that time, my wife's a psychotherapist. And when I started the gig with Robert, she was still kind of in training. She was an intern, and then on our way to getting licensed. And so over the course of the time I was with Robert, she was growing her career, and I was making actually a decent middle-class income.
Wow.
For the first time in my life.
That's amazing.
And, we had a kid, and, we could do it.
Yeah.
And, which is great, because when that all came to an end, she was able to support me in the manner to which I became accustomed.
Thank God for wives.
Professional wives.
Professional wives. Yeah. That's great. So what were the biggest venues you played? Did you guys play Albert Hall all the time? And
Well, we played at Albert Hall when we were in the Clapton tour.
okay.
Yeah.
So opening for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that was a trip because that would be like a run of 5 or 7 nights.
Yeah.
Right. So place. We did the Rolling Stones tour.
Wow.
We did like 8 dates, I think.
Wow.
And that was an eye opener.
I bet.
And so that's probably that's definitely the most people I've ever played for.
How many was it? You know?
I think there's a venue. I think it's a auto racetrack in Netherlands, Van Graaf or something like that. And I think the number was 70,000.
70?
70.
Wow.
But
That's really
of course at that scale, you're not.
Yeah.
It's hard to relate to what's out there as people.
Right.
Except when they
Mass.
hand a drug overdose over the front rail to the paramedic. It's just so many people.
Wow. Did you ever play the Crossroads Festival?
Yeah.
Did you? Yep. A few times?
Yeah. We played one in Dallas,
Right on.
and then another one. I think it was maybe there was 3.
Yeah.
The last one was in Chicago.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: How would you kind of rate playing on huge stages like that? Not money wise, keep the money out of it, but big stages like that compared to playing at small rooms.
Well, the kind of music,
2 different worlds.
the kind of music that we play, you and I, it's really about small stages,
Right.
and it's chamber music.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a-
It is.
with booze.
Yeah. With booze. With booze. and
Yeah,
booze.
so
Yeah.
God intended that I should be set up on the left side of the drummer where the hi-hat is,
Right.
in close proximity where we can yell at each other. And that's that's the sound that
Yeah.
and the feeling. It's mostly feeling.
Yeah.
So, we get in a big, like I was saying, a big, huge stage where everybody's spread out.
Right.
It's really hard to get that same vibe. Although I must say, over the years, the technology for, and I'm not even most people use in-ear monitors,
Right.
which Robert would never do.
Right.
And a lot of people hate them. I don't have experience with that really.
Yeah.
But the technology for monitors and actually the front of the house sound too is so much better now.
Yeah.
That you can go into like a 20,000 seat, hockey arena and have reasonable good sound for people all over the house.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come back on the stage creating problems for you sound-wise.
Right.
It's all focused out there. There are monitor systems now that let you hear stuff that you need to hear
Right.
at a reasonable level.
So it all works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, there's nothing like being in a little low-ceiling fun
Right.
when the shit
Right.
is popping.
Well, I was going to say, you've had experience because you were playing in the late 60s in a lot of those ballrooms. The advances that it's been from that time to what we're talking about now.
Right.
And so, you really have a pretty wide spectrum of
There's no
experience in comparison. Yeah. Once the Cray Band thing fell apart, how would you say?
someone was fired.
Well, okay, that you were fired. Did you get your gold watch?
No, Robert decided to turn over the rhythm section, so
Yeah.
he and Kevin were out at the same time.
Was Jim Pugh out at the same time?
No, Jim was in there.
Right after that,
I think
he got fired.
a year or two.
Yeah.
He was out. And he was out.
Yeah. Well, I guess things change. Yeah.
But it was,
It must have been a shock.
yeah, it was a shock. But
Yeah.
I have to say, some of that's right. First of all, I mean, the working conditions were incredible.
Yeah.
Not to say that you don't have the usual play the show, take a shower, go to the airport.
Right.
It's 4 a.m.
Right.
Catch the plane to Mumbai.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's just how it is.
Usually
Yeah.
fortunate.
Right.
But, the working conditions would Cray,
Yeah.
he would always, some band leaders, they'll fly, the band drives, they'll stay at the Ritz, the band stays at the what?
Martine's effect.
Yeah. It was never like that.
Never like that.
And also the other benefit was every night I got to listen to Robert Cray.
Yeah.
And every night there would be something different.
Yeah.
Wonders.
Yeah.
Almost without exception.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying something for 17 years.
And
can still say
that guy can sing
Oh, yeah.
and he can play.
Hell yeah. Hell
So
yeah.
that's pretty wonderful.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. So when that ended, where did you kind of go from there? Did you just kind of lay out for a while?
Yeah, that was pretty upsetting. And yeah, I definitely knew I was not going to go out and hustle, another road gig.
Right.
I mean, because by that point, it was pretty apparent that, none of us are really suited to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on the outside, you may think, oh, what could possibly be wrong with, playing all this music and getting people clapping for you and
Right.
whatever. But, it's really, there's a lot of downsides, and it's, like I say, it was taking a toll. I mean, you don't eat well.
Well, I would think
need to.
in the circumstances of that, eventually get used to the money, eventually get used to the certain upsides of it, but there is an exhaustion.
Yeah, there's definitely exhaustion.
Yeah.
And that's just has to do with problems getting
And the road. And it's the road.
Yeah.
It's just, whether it's like breakdowns or flight delays, getting stuck at airports, there's a million things that could unfortunately fall apart.
Yeah. And, a huge downside of it was I missed a lot of my daughters growing up.
Yes, that's huge.
And although I said, when we're home this time,
Right.
but that doesn't make up for, absences for
Certain
events.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and, my wife knew it was not ideal.
Yeah.
And so another person, some people are used to churning through fairly high level gigs.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see the names of players that work on road bands at pretty high level.
Right.
This band, that band.
Correct.
I'm not.
That's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So I was kind of cooling my jets for quite a while, and and then just started taking gigs that appeal to me.
Right.
Musically.
Right.
There's a lot of locally. There's a lot of gigs for someone who's tagged as a blues player.
Right.
And there's a lot of what I would call blues rock.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rock music on a 12-bar frame, and generally guitar players are the leaders and want to play extended solos.
Yeah.
Very long solos, often at the same dynamic level, which is
up
there.
and up.
And
Right.
that I had zero interest in doing. And fortunately, I didn't need to take every cake that was
Offshoot.
yeah. So I tried to do things that were interesting, and
Yeah.
I subbed for several different bass players that I know. Sometimes in a blues context, sometimes not.
Right.
I'm been working for 10 years with a singer-songwriter, Irene Spiritu, who is really talented, but kind of on the folk side, Americana, although she can truly sing anything.
Yeah.
And she writes wonderful songs. And we work a couple times a month at least. Sometimes just a duo,
Yeah.
upright bass and guitar, sometimes trio, sometimes we've done dates with DMAR and Lounge.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she did an album of stuff for Jimmy, Little Village.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A lot of the album was covers of Sugar Pie DeSanto songs.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that
Now,
album.
Irene sings type.
Yeah.
So that's fun too. Sometimes we do electric band cakes.
That's cool.
And
So that's all upright?
except when we're doing the electric band. So sometimes that would be a rebel.
Now, that's something I wanted to ask you about because I saw your post today about playing in the orchestra at what is it, St. Paul's?
Well, that clip was from we used to play at St. Paul's in Oakland.
Right.
That's from the new venue in College of Holy Names.
Oh,
that Holy Names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd been for years and years. I'd been interested in upright bass, like say my bandmate, the trumpet player John Wolmuth, introduced me to the instrument, but it just seemed like too much. Like life is too short. How am I going to learn? Like upright bass, you don't have frets on it like bass guitar, so it's a totally different, very different beast. But I was always really intrigued with it. But they're expensive too.
Right.
But then during the time I was playing with Cray, I got to know through Don Buchla, the electronic music guy. I got to know a guy who had a company called Zeta that was making electric violins. They started making electric cello, so it'd be a solid body instrument.
Wow.
In the same range.
Right.
And they were getting around with their electric violin, and there was a wonderful bass player, Fred Marshall, who had played with Vince Guaraldi, and he was an inventor kind of guy too. And bass player, he developed this electric upright for Zeta, and kind of got me on there as a endorser. They sold me one for cheap.
Wow.
And so it plays exactly like an upright bass.
Wow.
I started taking lessons from this friend of mine, Rod Fisher, who used to play with Cal Jader.
Wow.
Wonderful jazz player. He used to play all the time down at Blake's with the Russian piano.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
So Rob, I got, asked Rob to give me some lessons, and he insisted I learn how to play with a bow, which I had no interest in doing.
Right.
No, you have to do that because that's how you learn to play in tune.
Right.
Because you can't hide it. You're playing with a bow.
Yeah.
And then I happened to turn out to have a couple of acquaintances who had been heavy duty bass players in high school and college, and they had hey, I'll come over to your house and bring my bass. I got a stack of duets from when I used to take lessons, So, kind of down that path, and because I had been thinking, well, upright bass, I'd like to figure out how Willie Dixon did that stuff.
That's
how those people do that.
Slapping.
Even not slapping.
Right. Yeah.
But
pulling the string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just like Frank, what's his name, the New Orleans singing guy from the Burt Palmer days. all those
Yeah.
Foster, Louis Jordan.
People, yeah.
But I kind of got sidetracked into the classical side.
Right.
And then I sort of had this harebrained scheme of, in my golden years, I want to play with a community orchestra. And it was just kind of like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But then after I left the Cray band, I heard about this community orchestra, and I didn't, there was no audition, thank God. Never. But they were down to one bass player. And I just showed up at a rehearsal one and just kind of stuck around.
Yeah.
And, didn't manage to not embarrass myself. And, hooked up with another teacher for a few years. And, but I just have a ball. It's totally volunteer. It's called Prometheus Symphony. It's in Oakland. So the website, the link will be posted in the notes below the podcast.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
They certainly will.
It's all volunteers, and it's not half bad. We do 5 concerts a year. No admission charge. It's your best entertainment value.
Well, that sounds great. Well, we've done a long podcast, Carl. Yes, we've got
It's been worn out this chair.
Yeah, no, we've really covered a lot of ground, and it was great. I loved it. I really enjoyed it, man.
I did too.
You're a lot of fun to talk to, and your experiences are it's really mind-blowing.
Well,
To go from 1962 to today, that's a long time.
good thing you caught me while I still
Well, you have a great,
most of my marbles.
you really have a great memory. Your memory for names is it's amazing. It really is. So anyway, thanks again, Carl.
You betcha.
Always good to
See you soon.